What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relay reverse rants, no hate. Listen, Terrence Crawford, as we know, defeated and destroyed Errol Spence in that fight. Now, Errol Spence sends a tweet out that says he has next in regards to the winner of Fundora and Tszyu. Now, the situation that we have, you have the fans of Terrence Crawford saying one thing, you have the fans of Errol Spence saying another thing. So let me speak as not being anyone's fan. I said, with the holdup of the fight, and according to Terrence Crawford, him not taking the fight at that time, he didn't really want to fight Errol Spence in a rematch because it's like, okay, I destroyed him. There was no clause, in the contract that said we had a rematch clause. So, I want to move on. That wasn't a problem. Now, when they spoke about having a rematch, and at 154, Crawford said, oh, there's no problem. Yeah, we could make it have no problem. He definitely said that. So now you got people going back and forth. But Crawford said this. Yeah, but Bud said this. Now, I said, and I stick to it, if Errol Spence is the holdup and he fights anybody other than Terrence Crawford, then yeah, clearly it's a duck because he doesn't feel comfortable that he's going to beat Terrence Crawford. Now, the flip side to that is he wanted the rematch, but at 154. Well, for him to call out the winner of Tszyu and Fundora, well, it's at 154. So, Crawford is no longer undisputed because they already took one of his titles, and Jerron Boots Ennis has it now. So, this is a situation of this, okay? Spence has no belts. He's not holding up the division. Nobody's breaking their neck to get in the ring with Jerron Boots Ennis. So, the fact, and I also said if he fights somebody else at 147, that's what I said. That if he fights somebody else other than Crawford and at 147, it's a clear duck. That's what I said. I said if he goes to 154, then it's obvious he feels like he will perform better at a heavier weight. And that's when all these idiots lost their mind. Oh, excuses and shit. Nobody's making excuses. Stupid. Dummies. There's no excuses. I'm saying the man said he definitely wants the rematch, but at 154. So if he fights someone else at 147, and other than Crawford, it's a clear duck. If he fights, okay, there's no rematch clause. So how the fuck is he ducking if he doesn't want a rematch? And they said that the winner, was able to dictate, hey, okay, well, I don't owe you one, but I'll give you one. Then we started hearing all this other stuff about there was a rematch clause. It was a rematch clause, but not at 154. That's what I'm saying. Not at 154. So there was no rematch clause saying we have to fight at 154. Now, my thing is, Errol Spence didn't go the route of taking him to court and all that and whatever. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think he would have won that case anyway. Because it's like, yeah, we can do it again, but at 147. So it's obvious Errol Spence isn't confident that he'll beat him at 147. I don't care if I think Terrence Crawford will still beat him at 147 or at 154. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you think, what the next person thinks. It's not about our opinions. I'm looking at the situation for what it is. For him to go to 154, okay, he can't force Terrence Crawford to go to 154. Crawford doesn't have a reason to rematch him at 154 unless he just wants to say, okay, no problem, I beat you at 147. Now I'll do it again at 154. but he doesn't have to. So there's no ducking on that side in this situation. I don't see Errol Spence as ducking him either. This is what people say. He's ducking Terrence Crawford. No. What he's doing is making a conscious decision to say, okay, for whatever's going on in his life, his training, his preparation, whatever, wasn't 90% of the people saying there's no need for a rematch because the same thing's going to happen? But isn't it funny how now when he speaks and says he wants the winner of Tszyu and Fundora, all of a sudden now he's ducking Crawford? But everybody was saying there's no need for a rematch. The rematch is not going to sell. He got destroyed. But once again, everybody wants to put everything like under the same umbrella. So this is what I'm saying. Tszyu is at 154. Okay? Terrence Crawford isn't. If Terrence Crawford fights someone at 154, he goes to that division. Now he's at 154. Okay, well, you would think all of them would want to fight him, right? He has no belts at 154. But for namesake, for what he just did to Spence, yeah, well, that's what people would go by. And the pound for pound, being rated pound for pound, best fighter and all that type of stuff. So, yeah. But, I mean, overall, people got to grow up and stop being so damn immature, man. Like, for one, I don't feel like Terrence Crawford's career should have been put on hold because of Spence. And that's why, or any one fighter, no one fighter's career should be put on hold for another fighter. But my thing was, okay, what is the situation? Is Terrence Crawford just not fighting at this moment because he can't get Canelo in the ring? Okay, we can go through all this. He didn't want to fight Charlo. Do you think it's because he ducked Charlo? No, Charlo looked awful in the Crawford fight. I mean the Canelo fight. So Crawford is like, nah. Like, think about it. What would he gain out of fighting him at that point? Now, when you say, well, he would be fighting somebody coming off of a loss anyway, right? Okay, well, Spence just got his ass whooped. So even though the same guy is Terrence Crawford, well, if this is a let me get back in the ring type of fight, well, you got to give Spence at least credit for this. Spence doesn't take tune-ups. So this is one of the things that I was thinking about too, that if Spence is actually going to come back, is he going to take a tune-up this time, or is he going to go right straight back in there against the top guy? So, you know, this being said, whatever actually happens, it's not like the fight can't happen, but people are just so quick to just talk shit just because they hear news. And instead of just giving the news that they hear, they have to dig for something that's not there. If this man is saying, and mind you, you got a ton of Deontay Wilder fans that's perfectly okay with him having a tune-up fight. But these are the same people who said Anthony Joshua shouldn't. If you're a top fighter, then you got to fight the top guys. Even though he's in the same situation as Wilder in the sense that he has no title, he's not holding up the division, yet he fought nothing but the top guys. Wilder's whole fucking career was tune-ups. And he waits till he gets down there 40 to finally start, mid-30s with the Tyson Fury situation, working up to finally start fighting top level guys. You understand what I mean? So at the end of the day, why is it a crime if Errol Spence decides he wants to fight Tszyu or Fundora, whoever wins? Okay, which initially would have been Keith Thurman versus Tszyu, but okay, he got the injured bicep, so he's back on the shelf. Once again, and I told you guys, did I not say, who's to say Keith Thurman won't get hurt again? The guy said, he was out for 2 years due to injuries and not being able to get the fights he wanted. Okay, well, you always want to stay busy. So when you get to the point where I'm not injured, but I'm not going to take this fight, it's like I told you, they're trying to pick and choose. They only want to fight big fights. And you're going off of what you've done in the past. Because in terms of what you're doing right now, you've done nothing for 2 years. Now, that all being said, y'all, it just comes down to this. If a fighter isn't 100%. And we don't know what Spence is going to look like in his next fight. We don't know that. He might go in there and look like trash and get his ass whooped. He might go in there and look good. If he looks like trash, then people will say, even if he wins looking like trash, people are going to say, nah, he better stay away from Crawford. People are saying that even now, but now all of a sudden, because he makes a comment about fighting Tszyu or Fundora, whoever wins, now all of a sudden, blah, 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 blah. He's ducking, he's ducking, he's ducking. What fucking kind of human beings are you? If you're a fighter, and we don't know what's going on, but if you're a fighter, okay, we know just recently him and Derek James, they had a situation, so it's obvious they split. That's what it seems like anyway. Okay, like they did, they haven't smoothed things out. Even to take on a fighter, it's like, okay, when you sit down with your trainer, do you think that the trainer and the fighter is talking the way the fans are talking and the nonsense that people are typing in on social media? No. This is personal. This is my fighter. Listen, you're not looking sharp enough to go in there and fight Terrence Crawford right now. You gotta get sharp. You gotta get that frame of mind to understand the discipline you're gonna need to fight an entire fight smart. Box when you have to, brawl when you have to, but we need to see this in camp. I can't have you going in there looking the same and this just assuming because you put some weight on that now you'll be stronger and you'll knock him out when you hit him this time. We need a plan B. When you fight a guy like Crawford, you need a plan A, a plan B, maybe even plan C. Okay, you're gonna, because bottom line, when somebody can box, when someone can fight you more than one way, and basically you have it in you, but not really short term, and depending on the opponent, he can't outbox Terrence Crawford. You understand what I mean? So he has to basically sharpen up, tighten up, and make sure he's disciplined with at least the basics. Because you can be, look at Beeble. When you hear the term basic, I think what people, forget what other people say. When I say basic, what I mean is you can mean that in a derogatory way or in a complimentary way. Derogatory meaning when someone just is a basic fighter, they have nothing special about them. They're not really great at anything. They're not really that good at it. They're just basic. That's not the same as saying, nah, he's a basic fighter. He sticks to the basics, but he has that shit mastered. You understand what I mean? He no special effects, no superb footwork, no superior hand speed, good power, good speed, solid, good boxing IQ, and he sticks to what works. That's different, okay? And pretty much, he beat Canelo with the basics. People say, oh, he was too big and strong. He beat Canelo with the basics. Canelo is not considered a basic fighter, right? So he couldn't overcome size and power when he did in the Kovalev fight, right? But now he got in there with somebody who's better than Kovalev, who stuck to the basics and did something he couldn't overcome. Now, because the fans can't let go of that and accept the terms that, hey, Bivol was just better than everybody thought. And everybody was saying Bivol is not that guy. Bivol's too basic. That was the terms. And I said, yeah, he is basic. And he looks good at what he does. But we'll see what happens. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. And Bivol is a guy who I've seen him fight. And like I said, it's just, he does basic things, but he showed discipline. See, that's things that you see in the ring and you learn about a person on a fight-by-fight basis. Now, when you step up, it's like, wow, okay, those same things he was doing against lesser opponents worked against Canelo. And just like, for example, Canelo was really, had a tricky defense. He was solid on defense. He played a lot, opened his hands, jump up and down, all this bent up and under the waist. And, he did that. They said he can't do this with Chavez. Chavez will knock him out if he does that. And the experience Chavez has, you saw the fight. Didn't he fight Chavez the same way he did everybody else? He played and toyed with him the same way. Now, they call that a draw. But if you know, you know. If you're dumb, you're slow. Everybody saw that fight, know who really won that fight, by far. There was nothing, no draw at all. But that's what they called it. Okay, so bottom line, being a basic fighter doesn't mean you're not good. Just like you hear the term journeyman. Being a journeyman doesn't mean that you can't fight. But what it means is more than likely, even in a good effort, you're going to lose. Even in a great effort, you're still going to lose. Because you're just not. Like, you can be one of the best C plus fighters out there, right? But you're not going to beat that B minus. You're not going to beat that B plus. So we don't even need to mention A. You understand what I mean? That's when you're categorizing fighters based on what they do. And looking at Tszyu, well, let me say this about Tszyu. There's nothing special about Tszyu. He can punch, he comes to fight, he's strong, and pretty much, you know, the fights he's in, they have excitement in them, they have some drama in them, and bottom line is that's what people, they like to see the knockout, and that's what he comes to do. But there's nothing special about Tszyu's boxing skills, okay? And he's hungry right now. So, once again, just like, for example, Keith Thurman is seen as the better boxer, but I feel like, really, Tszyu should fuck Keith Thurman up. Now, of course, he's not in the fight anymore, Fundora is, but bottom line is, he should fuck Keith Thurman up. Keith Thurman's been out of the ring. He's been inactive for too long. And let's be real. He's going against a guy that kills the body, and Keith Thurman can't take body shots. Keith Thurman's legs is not going to get him around that ring the way he think the way he think they are, or the way he tries to, you know, at least portray that to the viewers. But bottom line, I mean, I don't expect him to go in there and say, oh, well, I'm not what I used to be. I don't think I'm a win. No. But I can say that because that's what I see in him. And I know I can be honest when most fighters won't be. You know? You know, we heard Roy Jones say, well, you know, I'm far from what I used to be. And I forgot what fight that was that he lost. And it might have been the third Tarver fight. But whatever fight it was, he was completely downhill. And we had seen what happened to him. Now, as for Thurman, he lost to Manny Pacquiao. You know, he came back and won against Barrios. But I mean, too long of layoffs and you get older and no, a lot of times your mind is telling you can do things that your body's not actually doing. But you think when you get in there, because of your experience, it'll kick in and it'll get you through. But with a guy that can punch, a guy that's strong, and a guy that basically can take your punch and back you up, it's a long night. It's a long night, you know? So, anyway, just saying, y'all. When Keith Thurman came back and fought Mario Barrios, who criticized him? He got his ass kicked by Pacquiao. He disappeared for 2 years, whatever, came back and fought Barrios. He's no longer holding the belt. Why was it okay for Keith Thurman? This is my point. People are selective with who is ducking and who isn't. You know, Keith Thurman didn't want to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. He even tried to pretend he didn't know who he was, and then who I don't know who that is. Then I think a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever it was, he's on an interview and he's speaking about Jerron Boots Ennis. Like, oh, now you know who. Yeah, we know you knew who he was. He's in your fucking weight class. So now, same thing. Keith Thurman going to 154. What happened between him and Crawford, right? So it's like people are just talking. And really, what's sick about it is a lot of evil-hearted people out here want to see something really happen to Errol Spence. Like they really want to see him go in there and get killed in the ring or really beat the fuck up so they can look at what happened. Then, if he really gets injured, and it's not just a Terrence Crawford thing. In that ring, you're putting your life on the line, right? We don't know his physical condition, his mind state, and all of that. So, if that was to happen, then you'd have, just for the sake of, the politically correct thing is just to say R.I.P. Errol Spence, or that's fucked up what happened to Errol Spence, if something really happened to him in that ring. You know, so to sit here and say his face won't hold up, his body won't hold up, he took too bad of a beating, just to say he's ducking, like so what do you say? So if that was your fighter, you send him in there against a guy that already beat the living shit out of him once, and without seeing any improvement, you're going to send him back in there again? Adding some weight is not going to change anything. He has to be different fundamentally. That's what we're saying. Have we seen anything to support that claim to say that he has? No. So if he's calling out Tszyu, he's calling out the winner of Tszyu and Fundora, so what? It's obvious he's moved on and said, okay, Crawford don't want to do it at 154. I don't see the point of doing it again at 147. And I don't give a fuck what they say. A lot of times people say a whole lot of shit. Then reality kicks in, and guess what? You know, just like, you know, what's his name? What's the Ngannou said he heard Anthony Joshua has a weak chin. He want to test that chin out, right? He said he thinks if he hits, you know, AJ with that same shot that he hit Fury with, that AJ won't get up. He's questioning AJ's ability to take a punch, even though you never seen him knocked out. You see, you heard him say that basically he's testing, he's doubting his heart on top of that. And then two, AJ took that shit personal and said, okay, but it's not about shit talking and trying to prove it in a conversation. I'm going to show you in the ring. And he went in and he punched him. And see, he believed all that bullshit. He takes kicks in the knees and elbows to... You guys make it... See, when you don't fight and you talk shit, you really don't know how stupid you sound as someone that does. Because I know what you think about the elbow. Let me tell you something. When you get knocked out with an elbow shot, it's mostly the forearm. Okay? The elbow splits you open. But it's the weight behind that. Your elbow, it's like that big. Okay? The little bone is like that big. All right? But the kicks, everything. You get... Okay? A lot of this shit is not landing flush like you think it is. Okay, but Ngannou went in there thinking he was Superman. He was superhuman. Well, we all know Superman can't fuck with kryptonite. And he met his kryptonite in 2 rounds. As I said, and you know, before that fight, why was Ngannou the favorite? And why was Anthony Joshua not supposed to win? Because he's not supposed to be better than Fury, according to who? Right? So if Fury couldn't do anything with Ngannou, really, what was AJ going to do? And it goes to show you that the so-called boxing experts, the so-called boxing enthusiasts, no, you've just been around for a long time and you got lost into this new wave bullshit. Boxing has become a joke, and I've been saying this for the longest. Even the way the commentators commentate fights, some of them try to stick to speaking about what this fighter should be doing and what they should be countering with and how they need to parry the shot and counter with this and step this way and all that. Keep your right foot on the outside of his fall. Yeah, but overall, that's just the shit that you learn in the gym. You learn that as a kid. When you start fighting, those are basic fundamentals that you learn. All that shit, that's not 20 years later. That's right up front. First thing they start to teach you is how to do a jab, how to move your head, you know, how to step. Those are the basics. So when you hear these people saying these things, it's like it's not because they're ultra smart. They're just giving you the basics. That's why when you find fighters that's not unconventional, that are unconventional, fighters that are special, they're different. You see a guy like a Ben Whitaker, and people, he's going to get knocked out. He just might. But guess what? There's fighters who don't fight like him, who are the conventional, throw back to the old days, or he boxed this way, he's a great technical, but and they get knocked out too. So if it happens, it happens. When it happens, how it happens, whatever. Right? But let's overlook all of his wins and basically just skip to, let's wait till he get knocked out. And then when somebody say it, they hope it happens because they said it. And they want to be able to say, I told you. And it's like, listen, people, nobody is going to be the same forever. At some point, you're going to change. Your skills are going to decline one way or another. Now, either you're fortunate enough to walk away undefeated, or walk away even with some losses with a great with a great career, a ton of money, so you don't have to come back when you're 40-something, 50-something, trying to come back because you're broke and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But this is a situation right here where, look, I'm saying I don't want to see anybody beat Errol Spence when he fights. Nobody. Terrence Crawford is another guy who was like, yeah, I want to see him win as well. I don't think Errol Spence will beat him in a rematch at 147, at 154. There's something that I heard someone say a long time ago, and it always stuck to me. Stuck because it wasn't even The conversation I wasn't in the conversation. I heard someone say something to somebody else. He said, anytime you face adversity and you have to fight yourself to stand back up and face that adversity, the longer it takes, the harder it becomes for you to come to terms to make that decision to do so. So what happens is you start to become a coward to that situation. But you won't tell yourself, I'm scared, I'm not confident, I don't know if I can do it. You'll tell yourself, I can win, I can do it. You might start making excuses, but you're doubting yourself at the same time. And before you know it, you're getting discouraged, you feel some kind of way mentally, but you don't make those efforts to make it happen. You just try to walk away from it and then wash it out your mind like it never happened. Those are very powerful words because that is so true. So the reality is, in all this time that Errol Spence hasn't been showing any training videos, just basically, not every time you see him, he doesn't look like he's in shape. Okay, all of these things, he knows that was the biggest fight of his career. Not only did he come up short, but he came up short big time. He fought his ass off in terms of trying effort, but basically, it was the worst performance of his career. At the end of the day, for him to want to go back in there at 154, Crawford has to agree. But at the same time, if there's no improvement in Errol Spence, what reason does he have to go back in there and fight Terrence Crawford? Like, really? Because it might be worse in the rematch. People say, "Oh, I think he'll do better at 154." How? Because what? Why? Because he's going to be heavier. Well, Crawford is going to be heavier too. So I mean, what's going to happen at 154 is going to be different if technically and tactically he doesn't change. Which is why I said I commended Anthony Joshua for being, for standing up like a man and going back in there to exercise his rematch clause against Usyk. But at the same time, you did see differences, but he still fought the wrong way. So this is why I'm saying the improvements in this AJ are different. I'm telling you, this AJ is more cerebral than the 6-7 punch combination AJ. That AJ, I would go with over all these heavyweights as well. What makes him different is the simple fact that he understands. Now, it's not, okay, you caught me with a good shot, now let me catch you back. Or let me just try to get you. No, he always was a thinker. He always was a boxer puncher. But if you watch him now, he knows, work off the jab, everything off the jab. Be patient. Be patient. I don't have to start the fight off throwing hooks, uppercuts, all the over. No, just, stick with the basics. Jab. Jab upstairs, jab to the body. Throw the overhand when I feel I'm in range, when I'm in the range. Step out, jab in, jab out. This AJ is a thinker. He's a thinker. Bottom line, this is why I say, now this would be a different AJ versus Usyk. If this was the same AJ, let's say all the fights he just won, that he still won. But if he won with the same tactics that he did fighting against Usyk, I would say there's no reason. But if he's gonna fight, let's say if it comes down because of his position, and then it comes down to, well, Fury lost to Usyk, okay, then so be it. But I'm confident that this AJ will beat Usyk. I always thought he could beat Fury. People were Styles, baby. Yeah, exactly. I always thought he could beat Fury. And I don't see Fury the way everybody else does. But at the same time, this is what happens to fighters when they wake up. For Errol Spence to try to please the fans and run in there and get his ass whooped again, it would be stupid. Now, if Errol Spence can get stronger, if he can get sharper, like I said, he's going to tighten up. Nobody's saying become a whole different fighter. No. But you have to be on some Bevo shit. You have to be on some AJ shit. Where you have to work that jab. Like I said, plain and simple. For him to step with his jab, he's a southpaw. Step to his right. Double, triple jab. Jab to the body, jab. But the problem with Errol Spence is he tries to throw punches so hard a lot of time that you can telegraph them. Other people didn't make him pay. Crawford made him pay. You understand what I'm saying? And he didn't have the mind set to, okay, I see what he's doing. Let me pop that. And so, no, you don't give up on something because you get countered. You understand what I'm saying? He was trying to do it, but he wasn't doing it right. So you're not going to go back in the rematch and beat him with the same shit. Best case scenario, you land a punch he don't see coming, down goes Crawford, he don't get up. Otherwise, it's the same thing. So, you know, for everybody that's so caught up into the whole shit living in the past, it's like, go forward. Go forward. So I'm telling you, he fights Terrence Crawford without improvements, he gets his ass whooped again. So basically, like I said, as long as he don't go and fight somebody else at 147, then okay. Because he clearly at the end of the fight said he definitely wants the rematch, but at 154. I don't think 154 makes a difference. Even if he puts up a better fight, I still think he gets beat. And people don't understand this. You know, I respect both of them as fighters. And I seen Crawford as the better technician. And definitely, you know, I was pulling for Errol. But did I say, oh, he's definitely going to... No. No, I said Crawford's going to have to be Crawford. Errol's going to have to be different. And all the Errol Spence fans, oh, man, I'm telling you, you ain't telling me shit. Like I said, Errol Spence is going to have to be different. And the same way he wasn't different, he won't be different in the rematch. And you also got to understand, smart people, he just split with Derrick James. Right? So now whoever is training him, it's going to be what you already know. We're going to add as much as we possibly can. Let's see if we can, you know, how much enhancements we can bring to your repertoire. So yeah, it'd be real smart for him to jump in there right now with Terrence Crawford. Like, this is what I mean about people. If he was my fighter, and like I said, if there's no improvements, no, there's no reason for that. This isn't about swallowing your pride. It's about pushing it aside for a second. Let both sides of your fucking brain work, okay? And understand. What he's doing right now, as far as saying he got the winner, well, it's obvious he must be training to say that. And then two, who's his new trainer going to be? We don't know. And at least we can see him against another top-level fighter and see what he looks like. Versus he's just going to go in there to please the people. These people don't give a fuck about you. Okay? They laugh at you. Your fans roll with you. The ones that want to see you lose, the people that's against you, they just want to see you lose. This is a situation right here, man, where you got to look at things. Always look at things like logically, man. Look at like the reality of it. If you look at this, it's simple, man. This is a fighter on a comeback trip. The way y'all react to Errol, y'all make it sound like no fighter in history's ever had a comeback fight. But once again, if he fights the winner of this fight, then he's not fighting a low tier guy. He's fighting one of the top guys again. So bottom line. So if Fundora wins the fight, then okay. If Tszyu wins the fight, okay. And remember, Tszyu is the hot ticket. You see what I mean about people? Tszyu went in there and did what he did. All of a sudden, he destroyed Tony Harris. Tim Tszyu, he's on another level, right? But now all of a sudden, Errol Spence calls him out. Everybody forgets that. Now all of a sudden, you bring Crawford up. He's ducking Crawford. He's ducking Crawford. He's ducking Crawford. Well, tell y'all what. You guys wouldn't make it as trainers. And you probably lousy ass parents too, to be honest with you. Because if you treat your kids like that, okay, your kid is not ready for something, but you're ready to push him in there. You got to show, you got to prove people wrong and stroke the ego. No, he's not going to fight somebody else at 147. Okay, and that's pointed out because, like I said, it's obvious if he's for him to say right at the post conference he definitely want the rematch, but at 154 that he feels he'll perform better at 154. And I'm saying, without a change in his tactics, he's not going to beat Terrence Crawford even at 154. And I can't say it any more plain than that. So, yeah, people making excuses for nobody. I didn't get my ass whooped. He did. Fuck, I got to make excuses for anybody for. I'm not attached to these people. I'm not emotionally invested into these people. Okay, I have a woman. I'm not secretly in love with none of these men like most of you fucking fanboys are. Y'all the ones do all this arguing over these motherfuckers. I'm just giving you the news and looking at shit from a logical standpoint. Okay, we haven't heard any words from out of his mouth. We haven't heard nothing going on. Crawford's not bringing up Spence's name anymore. He's moved on. He's trying to move on, but to who? And then Crawford is in a situation that I said it might be possible. A strong possibility that he might find himself in a situation where the biggest name that he can find out there actually is Errol Spence. Now, they already stripped you of one of your belts, so you're no longer undisputed. You understand what I mean? So, no, he doesn't have to go to 154, but, hey, if it's just to the sake of staying busy and saying, okay, we both been out, because he's been out this ring the same amount of time as Spence. Okay, the difference is Spence got his ass kicked, but it's still an activity for both of them. So, Crawford trying to get Canelo and then, like certain names that he's picking and poking at, and it's like, no, do you understand? He's not getting those fights either. So how is this helping Terrence Crawford? But y'all don't look at that. Y'all just looking at one side of it, trying to be fanboys, trying to defend a fighter instead of being grown men and women and fucking looking at the situation for what it is. The inactivity isn't good for either guy. Now, as far as Spence go, if he's completely healed, and he's ready to go, psychologically and mentally would probably be the biggest thing. If he's completely healed, then it's like, okay, he needs to be right when he gets back in there. So no, if he doesn't feel like, right now it'd be the smart move to jump right back in there with Crawford, so be it. So be it. You heard what he said before the fight, right? He thinks that his overall skill set and everything, that he'll be able to match Crawford. Whichever way it goes, they both need to be in the ring. But I'm telling you, Crawford is in a position where he's trying to get nothing but a top-notch, huge payday. There's nobody else he's going to fight that he's going to get that Canelo money. And as I stated, y'all don't hear Crawford talking about fighting Benavidez, David Morrell, right? Not even Caleb Plant. Y'all don't hear him talk about fighting none of these other big dudes, but you hear him talking about fighting Canelo. Yeah, but if he would fight Canelo, why wouldn't he fight Plant? Because Canelo beat Plant. Yeah, well, at the same time, y'all always talk about how styles make fights, right? At the same time, he's not going to make the same money fighting against any one of those guys. But the big risk is fighting against a Benavidez. And Caleb Plant's no walk in the fucking park. Don't get it twisted. He knows that. He knows that. That's why he's not talking about fighting anybody else. Okay, for example, Bivol said he'll go 168 and fight Canelo. Mauricio don't want that to happen. Do you expect Crawford to go, hey, he won't fight you, but I'll come to 168 and fight you? You understand what I'm saying? No. So we gonna say, oh, well, Crawford's ducking Bivol because Bivol is willing to go to 168 to fight Canelo. So why don't Crawford call Bivol out? Why is nobody saying that shit, right? Okay, it's stupid. He has no reason to. I don't even see the point of him going up to 168 to fight Canelo other than the payday. Now, I don't see Crawford being the type of guy to go up and wait just to go up and wait for a check. I believe he goes up or whatever he does, he's going to go there with intentions to win. But bottom line is, look, just because somebody calls your name and the fight don't happen don't mean it's a duck. You call somebody's name, a lot of times fighters know these fights aren't going to happen, okay? But let me say their name and Every time their name come up, my name is coming up. So more eyes are on me. Baumgardner, Shield situation. She know damn well Clarissa's not coming out no damn 147 for what? What's in it for Clarissa? Okay. I feel like once Errol Spence gets in the ring, like I said, we see what he's looking like. We can at least see where he still is. Does he look like he lost anything? Then, of course, if he does, people are going to say it's ring rust and all that. So, same shit. Terrence Crawford hasn't been in the ring. So, like I said, we'll see how things go. And this is a situation where, like I said, he's not holding up a division. And he's going up to 154. So, he's going right up to 154 right off the bat for him to call out the winner. Right? And people saying, well, how come Tszyu don't want to fight against Terrence Crawford? Look, first off, Crawford wasn't looking for Tszyu. Let's make something clear. He wasn't looking for Tszyu. The kind of money Crawford wants, he's not going to get against Tszyu. That's why he was calling out Canelo. And even though Canelo was rejecting him, this shit went on for months, damn near a fucking year. Months and months and months and months of him calling out Canelo. And Canelo not showing any interest, and he still was talking about Canelo. The fanboys wouldn't let it die. Okay, these fan channels wouldn't let it die. Okay, they kept bringing it up. So even when the fighter's no longer talking about certain things, these different channels and content creators are. These idiots jumping in the comment sections, yeah, man, he should do this, and it's like, stop, man, stop. Stop and think about what you say. So he wasn't talking about Tszyu. When someone brings up a fighter's name, then it's like, okay, so like I'm saying, y'all keep talking all this shit. You know, it's so funny how everybody keep talking this shit about everybody's ducking Crawford. But you the same motherfuckers that won't say, well, Crawford, why won't you fight Jerron Boots Ennis? And you know why he don't want to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. Because the money is not the kind of money he wants. And he knows that Jerron Boots Ennis is a huge risk. I don't care none of that shit that y'all talking, oh, he'll beat him. Maybe. But he knows ain't no walk in the park. He knows that. And at the same time, he was stripped. And he didn't go get his belt back and say, okay, cool, now I have to fight him. He got my belt and I want to be undisputed. No, he just let the belt go. So anybody can make claims that, oh, just because of a situation, right? But look at it. Because I'm pretty sure if Tszyu was on the other foot and they stripped Errol Spence, all the Crawford fans would be like, man, this motherfucker won't even go fight Jerron Ennis, and they stripped him. Plain and simple. So I'm not here to make the video to talk about, this video is not about anybody ducking anybody. I'm bringing sense out that other people are clearly overlooking. You understand what I mean? So, there was no, Tszyu and Crawford weren't even in the same weight class. His name wasn't coming up. Now, when his name, when him and Keith Thurman, because if you think about it, what did we hear? Keith Thurman was supposed to be fighting Terrence Crawford. Then all of a sudden, you just stop hearing about it. And the next thing we know, it's Keith Thurman going to 154 to fight Tszyu. So, all this dramatized story is just a bunch of talk, a bunch of nonsense, man. A bunch of lies. Just stupidity. And people just make videos just to put things out there just to get people talking. But at the end of the day, Crawford needs to get busy. He's been out too long. He waiting for that one big fight. Crawford might be waiting for just one and then done. Because to be out this long and be 35 years old, like, what are you waiting for? And like I said, I know what he's waiting for. But who's the guy he think he's going to fight and get the kind of money he want? What I'm saying. So, either way, it is what it is. But we need to see Errol Spence in the ring. And like I said, the fact that he's not taking the tune-up and he's going to jump straight in there with one of them, cool. Cool. And we see how he looking there. Now, neither one of those guys fight with Terrence Crawford style. So you can't really gauge where he stands with Crawford, even if he goes in there and annihilate one of these guys. But if he goes in there and lose, once again, everybody will be saying, damn, you're right, Aries. He should stay away from Crawford. And all I'm saying is, if you're going in there, okay, thinking about a Hail Mary, I'm just going to throw something up and hope somebody catch it. Yeah, I'm going to throw that haymaker and, oh shit, it landed, he went down. If that's all you got, because your normal style is not going to work against Crawford. And listen, let me add this as well. If Errol Spence was drained, if he didn't feel strong, if he didn't feel, at his very best and all that, let me explain something to you. Even if any of that played a part, psychologically, you're not going to be confident just because you gain weight. Because once you go in there, and it's still not an easy fight, the same mindset you had when you got knocked down, you might, it might get to a point, do you go out on your sleeve once again? Or do you pull back and kind of get gun shy and try to be smart, try to be more, cerebral? Yet these are not things that you really practice. And this is what I'm saying. So for him and whoever comes in, like the same guy that was training Lamont Peterson and the Peterson brothers, it might be one of them that he might go to. You know what I'm saying? Like, bottom line, or whoever, he needs somebody that can prepare him for Terrence Crawford style. Do you understand? He needs somebody that can prepare him to fight different styles against different people. Errol Spence fights everybody the same way. You understand what I mean? So, if he can't switch hit, okay, and I don't mean switch to orthodox. When I say switch hit, I mean switch up, switch your styles. It's not limited to just fighting southpaw orthodox. If he can't switch hit, then basically, like I said, he's going there looking for a Hail Mary because it's not going to work. And the only thing that will help him is if, sometimes fighters, especially like technical boxers, the ring savvy is there, the experience to know how to avoid certain shots, whatever. But as if Terrence Crawford is slowed down any, that other than that, then you're not beating the guy that's 100%. But then when you look at it, well, Errol Spence could never be 100% after being thrown out of that fucking car, right? So it is what it is. But we'll see. And I just wanted to make this video in regards to that because, like I said, people are so one track with when they're making these videos. They're saying things, but it's like, bro, tell the whole story. Look at both sides. Stop listening to content creators tell you some shit based on their personal bias. Then you go run and repeat it, and you're not really looking at the situation for what it really is. If it's Errol Spence versus the winner of Tszyu Fundora, so be it. If him and Crawford ever do it again, so be it. If they don't, so be it. But if you're not where you need to be to climb through those ropes and fight Terrence Crawford, and you're doing it just to please the fans, I think that's a stupid move. Now, as a fighter, yeah, your heart is, nah, I got to get mine back. But then again, you got to be smart enough to understand what you need to do different. And we know Errol Spence can punch. So, but what happens when that power fails you, right? Same thing I say about Deontay. What happens when you step up in competition and fight somebody better than you ever fought before? Yeah, what happens when that power fails you? Huh? What happens then? You have nothing else to go to. Now, y'all can see that shit in Errol Spence, but you can't see it in Deontay Wilder. So, bottom line is, Julian Jackson was the same way. He could punch, but he wasn't that good of a boxer. But he could punch like a motherfucker with both hands. So that people was on the back foot against Jackson because they didn't want to get hit. But when he got in there with skilled guys, and this is why we always said the rematch with him and Terry Norris should have happened, because Norris was way better than him. Got caught. Maybe the same thing happens in a rematch. Maybe Terry gets the job done in the rematch. Who knows? Never happened. But bottom line, that's what happens when you can punch, but you're not that good of a fighter or good of a boxer, and then you depend on that power. You just think you can knock everybody out, then you can't. And all of a sudden, this guy's good enough to outbox you. What do you have now? So for all of you people that were saying there's no need for a fucking rematch, the same thing is going to happen. Why are y'all yelling out he's ducking now? When you know damn well that the man is not where he needs to be. And we haven't seen anything to say any different. So we'll see what happens. Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.